The Xbox Series X is a great console, and I'm not disputing it. But if you're one of the people who owns an Xbox, then you've probably experienced your share of issues. Some aren't so bad, and others make the console downright unusable. Number 10. The disc gets stuck in the disk drive. This issue has been a fairly common issue, I think. Xbox users have reported that inserting discs into the disk drive often results in it getting stuck halfway in, leaving the other half poking out. The obvious consequence of this is that games aren't playable, but it also causes loud clicking sounds. Now, the issue here is quite simple because it's just a case of a faulty disk drive. There's no advanced reasoning behind it, but it is annoying as hell nonetheless because you do have to take it to Microsoft for repair or even replacement. However, some users have reported that there's an even simpler fix which just involves, well, ramming the disk in. I wouldn't recommend this, but in some cases it may be because the dust cover for the disk drive is stalling the disk from going in. So if that is the case, then it's fine. But honestly, if the disk isn't going in, please don't try and brute force it in there. Microsoft won't accept your warranty if you do that. Number 9. Xbox games don't work. Xbox made their smart delivery feature with the intention of allowing its player base to play their previous gen Xbox One's games for free without having to purchase and re-download them. In theory, it is a great feature and it works for the most part, but some games have had graphical issues, which just makes the game plain ugly. Xbox has blamed the issue on external hard drives, saying that transferring games over via an external hard drive can result in games appearing degraded. Weirdly enough, games which experience this are very random and there's no telling which game will break. The one solution is to just delete and reinstall the games that do this because right now there's no actual fix for the issue. Number 8. The Xbox just can't read discs. I know the disk drive problems are starting to pile up, which doesn't make a strong case for the console's hardware, but admittedly, this is a problem that mainly inconvenienced early Series X units rather than current ones. But the problem is fairly prevalent regardless. Basically, any disk that's inserted into the Xbox's disk drive just doesn't read properly. And that's not just because of a faulty disk or anything that simple. No, it's actually a problem with either the disk drive or power mode itself, which means any disk, whether it's an Xbox disc, DVD, or Blu-ray, won't work. Xbox has mainly put this down as a power issue, which can supposedly be fixed with a hard reset. Number 7. Games don't launch. I imagine most of you have experienced failed game starts with a vague error code that doesn't really explain the issue. Well, in the latest installment of annoying error codes, we have error code OX80. Actually, I'm not reading all that, but you get the picture. This happens when you start up certain Xbox One's games on the Series X that have Series X upgrade patches. So if you've upgraded any last-gen games to have the Series X patch, then there's a chance that you may encounter this error code. The possible solution is to just go to the settings and select the Reset and Keep Games and Apps option. That way it will reset your console without removing your games and their saved data. Number 6. Faulty controller connectivity. So some people have found that after unboxing their new Xbox Series X consoles, that their controllers won't connect no matter what they do. Obviously, batteries do need to be inserted properly, but the problem goes much further than that because there are cases where the controller is just straight up unable to connect. The two solutions consist of either resetting the console or connecting it via a USB cord so that it manually pairs with its Xbox. If that doesn't work, then obviously the controller is broken. That'll probably fall within your warranty though, since that isn't your fault, so I'm sure you could contact Xbox and get a new controller. Number 5. Game captures are constantly failing to save. Yeah, so bad news for streamers or YouTubers that rely on the built-in game DVR because there has been an error message appearing on screen after users have tried to edit or share videos saying trim failed. Microsoft has so far been silent on the exact solution, but making sure that the system is fully up to date is the best route to go down. Others have suggested that setting the game resolution to 1080p has worked for them. Seems 4K recordings may be the problem in this case. Number 4. Xbox 360 games are causing seriously frustrating issues on the Series X. They'll either stall when launching or crash and push players back to the home screen. This isn't an uncommon error either because a lot of Xbox users have reported this when trying to crack out a 360 game. Although this specific issue is only an issue for 360 games, while Xbox One games are having problems of their own, as mentioned earlier. This is once again an issue that can be put down to transferring games on an external HDD, aka an external hard drive. To get around this irritation, all you have to do is clear your local Xbox 360 storage before transferring, and the issue should be remedied. Number 3. Corrupted image displayed when used on a TV. The Xbox Series X and this new generation of consoles in general use HDMI 2.1 because that's able to support the 4K and 120 frames per second capabilities. Any other HDMI is probably not a good choice if you really want to maximize the Series X's performance. Using the wrong HDMI cable as well as using an outdated TV software can result in a corrupted image. If that doesn't work, then the issue may be a little deeper, which would mean you'd have to put your console into safe mode. If you don't know how to do that, then I'd recommend just watching a tutorial because it's pretty simple. Anyway, from there your console will go into what's known as low resolution mode, which should mean the screen will show up. All you have to do then is to go into settings and match the Xbox's resolution output to the screen's by selecting automatic. Problem lies in the screen because if it has variable refresh rate turned on and the Xbox is outputting 4K at 120 frames per second, then it can muddle up the connection. Number 2. Wi-Fi issues. Seems like there are just permanently Wi-Fi issues with the Xbox Series X since its launch. As of now, there are 2 major issues the Series X is having with Wi-Fi. Firstly, some routers have proved problematic in terms of their ability to function smoothly with their console. Microsoft really doesn't have a fix, but it's more likely a problem that lies with the router, so contacting the ISP is the best solution. The other and more pressing issue is the Wi-Fi issues when playing multiplayer games because people have experienced constant poor connectivity and disconnection issues. This issue can be anywhere from mild to infuriating. But either way, the best way to go about fixing this issue is messing around with your router settings, with professional advice from your ISP. It's that, or wait for Microsoft to release a fix. Number 1. The Xbox won't turn on. I'm not sure if this is a widespread issue in particular, but is a very serious one if you do experience it. Some users have reported their console is essentially being dead, meaning it doesn't turn on at all. Now, this issue is obviously very scary to encounter, but don't fear because there are some solutions. If the issue isn't the actual outlet on the wall, then you would consider trying a different cord because the likelihood is that the cord is damaged. Power cuts can tend to do that, so finding a new cord may work. Otherwise, the only option you'd have is to contact Microsoft and get the Series X serviced, or worst case scenario, get your console replaced by Microsoft. Oh, and if you're curious to see some of the bigger problems plaguing the Xbox Series X right now, then check out the video linked in the description and the comment section. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll try to respond, and don't forget to like and subscribe.